Hello and welcome to the Chartec BDR setup demonstration. In this video, we'll be going over the BDR setup and configuration for all the main components to get your backups and offsite backups going. There are three main components we need to configure for your complete backup solution to function, which are Shadow Protect, Image Manager, and the Doyen's agent. Your BDR will come with all the essential software already preloaded. We do recommend joining your BDR to the domain if possible. You can do this now or later. First thing we'll need to do is unlock the Chartec BDR software suite. When you open it, it will require an unlock code which can be obtained at the end of the video. After entering that, you'll need to restart the software as indicated. Next, you'll need to enter a site ID. This can be anything you want. Most partners make it their client name. After the site ID comes the encryption key. This is a very important password as it encrypts all of the backup images and cannot be changed after the images are created. If you lose this password, do not worry, we can recover it. Now that we have the initial configuration complete, here comes the fun part, adding your servers to the BDR. In the Chartec BDR menu, select Add Server. Here you need to enter the information for the server you want to back up. After complete, click Next to go on to the next section where you can select the partitions that you intend to back up. Be sure to select the partitions before moving on or the scripts won't get created correctly. And if you make any mistakes, don't worry, you can always start over. Upon completing the server setup, an information box will pop up telling you what to do next. I like to do this after a few other steps. The box is telling you what you just configured. From the server itself, you'll navigate to the installer's netshare to access these scripts. If you have more servers to add, simply select the Add Server button and repeat the process till you've finished. Once you're ready to move on to the next phase, go back to the Chartec BDR software and select Software, and select Shadow Protect. Shadow Protect on the BDR is used primarily for Chartec support and management. Under the Management View tab, there's an Add button. Click this to pull open the menu to configure your server. You'll be using the same information that you entered in the last phase. You don't need a group name or server description. Click Submit when you're finished, and then you'll see the server you just created under the Management View tab. By default, the servers will be in a disconnected state. Note that it gets highlighted when you select it. Then you can click Connect on the top left. Of course, this won't work just yet because Shadow Protect isn't installed on the server. Once you've added all of your servers you plan to back up to the Management tab on the BDR, you'll want to make sure they're added to Image Manager as well. Image Manager is a necessary step in order for your incremental backups to be consolidated, also for your offsite backups to function at all. Going back to the Chartec BDR software suite, in the Software button, you'll also find Image Manager. Click that to open Image Manager. By default, the password will be password1, all lowercase. Enter the password to log in. Once you're logged in, on the left you can click Start Managing Folder. Click the ... button to browse to the F directory. Under the F directory will be a backup directory, and under that will be a directory for each of the servers you created in the first phase. Highlight one of the folders and select Save. All these settings can be left alone. The only thing that needs to be changed here, on each server, you'll need to select the consolidation settings. When entering the consolidation settings, by default the intervals should be changed to 7, 30, 90. The most important part of this is to unselect the box that says Move Consolidated Image Files to Subdirectory instead of deleting them. Note that this box must be unselected, otherwise you'll have double the amount of data that you actually need. Rinse and repeat for all the folders in your backup directory. Consolidation settings must be set for each server. At this point we're almost done. Now you can log into your server and start the Shadow Protect installation. Go to Start, Run, // the name of your BDR, / installers. Here you'll see a directory for each server you added in the first phase. Within that directory are the two files indicated at the end of the setup process. First, run the .exe, which is the MSP installer for Shadow Protect. Note that you can't use any installers downloaded directly from StorageCraft. You'll use all default options during the installation, except at the end, select not to reboot at this time. Once the Shadow Protect installation is finished, you can run the VBS file. This will apply the backup jobs and destination path. For some, this will complete your BDR setup. You'll want to email support@chartec.net with a list of server names and the corresponding BDR names so we can provision and apply Shadow Protect licenses. If you do not have offsite backups, you're ready to reboot or schedule a reboot for your servers. Upon booting up, the next hour interval, the backups will automatically start. The unlock code for the Chartec BDR software suite in the beginning is 75680. If you want to have offsite backups, you have the option of doing a manual import. This is what we call the process of copying the backup files and sending the hard disk to Doyens. This is usually a rather lengthy process and is not always necessary. If you're able to upload your base chain over the internet, then please continue the video. Now that we have the two main components configured, the last phase is the Doyens agent. Open a web browser and navigate to https://offsite.chartec.net. Log in with your offsite account. You should have received an email requiring activation upon signing up with your first BDR. Step 1 is to click the Accounts tab to create your first client. Only the client name is necessary for this, and the rest of the information can be left blank. Select Save at the bottom. Now that you have your client created, you can click the Agents tab to add an agent to that client. Note that you will need to add one agent per server. Select the client you want this agent to be provisioned for. The type will be Windows, and the agent name you'll want to make the exact name as the server's hostname. Click Add to proceed. This will bring you to the agent configuration page. In the bandwidth throttling, you can set these as needed. In the Shadow Protect installation directory, this path needs to reflect where Shadow Protect is actually installed on your server. For 32-bit operating systems, the default is usually correct unless specifically configured during the installation. For 64-bit operating systems, you'll need to change this file path to program files space parentheses x86 end parentheses. In the Shadow Protect installation directory portion, in this section you won't need to enter the credentials because it doesn't need to authenticate with the local server. Where it says Shadow Protect backup location, this needs to be configured for the net share of your backup directory on your BDR, and should look like / the name of your BDR, / backup, / the name of your server. You will need to input credentials for this, as it does need to authenticate with the BDR. For BDRs joined to the local domain, you can input a domain name in the domain/computer name/NAS section. You may also authenticate with a local administrator account, and to do so, you'll simply put the name of the BDR in the domain/computer name/NAS section. You'll also need a user and password. That's all for the agent configuration. Scroll to the bottom and click Save. You can now go back to the Agents tab to see your agent you just created. You can hover your cursor over the two down arrows next to the name. This will bring up a new menu where you can click Download to download the agent installer. And you can save it or run it. If you have multiple servers, I recommend saving it and transferring the file to the installer's net share in your BDR. This way you won't have to log in to the offsite portal on each server to download the agent. You can use the default settings for the Doyens agent installation as well. Leave Run Agent Identification selected and continue on. This will open a web browser where you can log in with your offsite account. Use the menus to select the client and select the agent for the server. Select Identify Agent. The page that comes up should look rather identical to the agent configuration page in your portal, and since this is already configured, we can click Next. The agent installer will continue on. Leave the two boxes selected and proceed. Many times the installation process will fail. If it can't connect, please ensure the following ports are open: 9580, 8443, and 8640. You can run through the installation process again. Once the installer is complete, you can click Finish to move on to the final step. Go back to your offsite portal and navigate to the Machines tab at the top. Here you can click Import Existing Machine. This will associate the offsite machine, which will contain your backup files, with the agent that you select. At the top, you'll want to select Windows Machine and leave Automatically Import from Live System selected as well. Select your agent, input the local subnet mask, which is usually 255.255.255.0, and input the internal gateway. If you don't know this information, go back to your server and open a command prompt window and run ipconfig. The machine name, you'll want to input exactly the same as the agent name, which should also be the same name as the server's host name. Click Add to continue to the last section. Here you'll have an import button. Once you click this, it'll start the upload for your backup files. Note that this is going to fail at first because Shadow Protect isn't installed yet and needs to complete a base image before it will start. Once it's finished, it'll automatically start uploading. Once again, please make sure to email support@chartec.net with a list of servers and the corresponding BDR names so we can apply the Shadow Protect licenses. Lastly, the Chartec BDR unlock code is 75680. This concludes your complete BDR setup. If you have any issues with any of the instructions, please email support@chartec.net. Thank you, and have a great night. You'll need to double click it